Fala galera, welcome to episode number 1 of the Strategy AI series. In this one, I'll be covering agents, this human-like experience to interact with your data, right? We are now, everyone is familiarized with ChatGPT, Gemini, the Copilot, the way of asking questions to the machine and receive answers in a human-like format. So we have agents. That's a really nice way to interact with our data. And in this video, I'll be showing you how to create an agent with strategy, and then of course, being able to interact and get insights from your data. Hope you guys like this one. All right, so everything starts here in library. You don't need to install anything as usual. Let's go to create new on the top right corner, choose agent, this option here. And to start with, you notice that we have a few options to select the data. Normally, we will select structured data. We want to analyze data that is in a table or in a file, Excel file, that sort of stuff. We could be choosing unstructured data as well and additional options in here like AI data collection, or we can use existing agents to create this one being like a super agent or an agent of different agents. That would be one option here. As you hover the mouse over, you can see that option available. But let's go the standard way. Let's go structured data. And let me pick like one of the data sets that we have called airline. I'm choosing this one, clicking create button. And then before we start creating the agent, we have here a data preview pane. Well, here you can select all the columns in the data set, add them to rows or the columns to have like a little preview of the data that you have. So in here we have airline, name data, day of week, departure hour, month, and well, we can perform analyses using these attributes and metrics we have here, all right? So that will be the use case. Let me go ahead and click the save option. I'll be saving this one in the folder that I'm calling agents. I already have one here. Let me just replace the existing one because I like this name, airline agent. So I'm overriding the existing one. And there we go. Here we can start creating the agent. So first you notice that the bot contains already a few suggestions based on the data that you have. And then on the right, we have like a few tables. We have the general panel where we can define a few properties. We can define, for example, the agent icon. So if I click here, I have a few agents icons available. Well, in my case, I'll be using a different one. So let me pick an image from Google, for example. I'm pasting the image address right here, clicking save, and there we go. I have my agent right here, my image right here, sorry. Let me call this agent airline agent or whatever name you guys want to give to it. Here you can additional, or you can add like greetings. Hello, Captain. So, hello, Captain. I'm your airline agent, your virtual assistant, and then you can keep adding whatever you want in here. You can choose the panel theme and visualization palette, so you can keep adding different colors in here. For example, I'm choosing the classic one, and then there are chart settings available. Let me leave this one the way it is. Additional or optional features like saving answers to my snapshot, enable ask about, interpretation, insights. Let's leave all these the way they are. We can ask like hints in here. We can leave them the way it is. So see, hint, ask me a question is what we see right here in the button. All right. Later, we can find additional tabs. We have the prompt tab here. We can add prompts to the bot. We have enable custom instructions, and here you can actually give instructions to this agent so it can perform a better analysis of the data. And finally, here we have the data tab where we can see the descriptions of the attributes and metrics, and based on these, the answers will be properly given to us. So this is very important at all. I mean, we can either select or unselect the way it is showing up right now. We leave it this way. On the well, in the center, top center corner here, we have a few options like ask about. That's a really nice one. When we click in here, we can see what is in this data set. We have airline data, And then again, you can start a conversation right here. We have day of week and all the other attributes and metrics. All right. The chats or the questions we're asking, we can show them here. Right now, we don't have any. That's why it appears this way. And well, we have a few additional options like taking a screenshot, things like this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close the chat in here, and I'll be using one of the questions available here. For example, how many flights delay were reported for Delta Airlines? So let me click this one. The agent starts analyzing the question, interprets the question, pick the data, gather the data as you see here, and just in a matter of seconds, or well, depending on the amount of data, it can take a bit more, we already have here the answer for our questions. All right, so that's really interesting. We can get answers from our data. Now, as you can see here, I'm asking another question myself. I'm not using any of the suggestions. Show me the monthly evolution of flights delayed for Delta Airlines. I'll be sending the question to the chatbot. It starts analyzing the data, interpreting the question once again, picking relevant data, gathering data, and you will see the final result in just a few seconds. And this time, oh, that's quite interesting. That's pretty bad. I mean, pretty nice, pretty cool. Now I have the data in form of a graph. So the monthly evolution of flights delayed is shown right here. And not only this, you have here the insights available. Later, if you hover the mouse over, you can get the interpretation of that data. Yeah, if you click here, it interprets the data and gives you an explanation. That's really cool. You can then later take a snapshot of this. Let's take a snapshot. Why not, right? It saves a snapshot right here. And then we have options like, okay, that was a bad response or a good response. We have all of these. We can follow up. We can copy as an image to add, I don't know, to a PowerPoint presentation. We can export the data via a CSV file or to an Excel file, and we can finally download this. So really powerful, really interesting. That's what you can do with agents, right? You don't need to create a dashboard. You don't need to spend a lot of time modifying a dashboard. All you have to do is ask the agent and the answer will be given to you right here. That's the power of agents. Of course, I could be adding more stuff. I could be asking more questions, but for the purpose of this demo and not to make it long, these are some of the things that we can do with agents or Autobots. All right, so that was it for episode number 1 of the Strategy AI series. As you just saw, it's pretty easy to create your agents, start asking questions, getting knowledge based on the data that you have in the company. Again, hope you guys like this one, and if you feel like sharing, subscribing, feel free to do so, and I'll see you at the next one.